Canada will soon have a new ruling party leader. The race to replace Prime Minister Justin Trudeau comes to a climax on Sunday when his successor will be chosen. Mr. Trudeau has led the Liberal Party for 11 years and has been Prime Minister for 9. He announced his resignation in early January after a series of political crises. 4 candidates are vying to succeed him: former MP and businessman Frank Béland, former Bank of Canada and Bank of England Governor Mark Carney, former Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland, and the Liberal House leader Karina Gould. Whoever wins the leadership will have to contend with a number of challenges, including souring relations with the US over President Trump's tariff war. The winner will also lead the party in the next general election. It must be held by October 20th, but the Liberals or opposition could trigger a vote before then. Now, the leadership shakeup has garnered positive momentum for the party, with polls showing a resurgence of support for the party. It is leading the opposition Conservatives for the first time since 2021. And for more insights into what's happening, let's speak now with Daniel Béland. He's Director and Professor at the Department of Political Science, McGill Institute for the Study of Canada, and he joins us from Montreal. Professor, thanks very much. Appreciate you appearing on the show today. I want to start by asking you about those polling numbers, the change in fortunes for the Liberals. Many reports say it's been driven by what's been happening, south of the border. Can you explain exactly why Canadians seem to have had a change of heart?
Well, I think that, yes, what we can call the Trump effect is playing a major role in Canadian politics right now. As Pierre Trudeau, the father of Justin Trudeau, said decades ago, sharing a border, being a neighbor with such a powerful country like the United States is like sharing a bed with an elephant. And when the elephant tosses around, we feel the shock. And this is what's happening now with the new Trump White House, Trump 2.0 presidency, and the tariffs, of course, but also Donald Trump saying that Canada should become the 51st state. This has created a massive impact on Canadian politics. That's changed the conversation. Until Trump returned to the White House, the focus was on cost of living and taxation. And now the focus is how can we protect ourselves from our neighbor, from our powerful neighbor, and in that case, from the Trump administration. And this has been very helpful for the Liberals in the polls, who are currently in power with the minority government. And it's been difficult for the Conservatives, who are closer to Donald Trump ideologically and have struggled a bit to differentiate themselves from Trump.
And Professor, I'm wondering if this has any impact on Justin Trudeau himself. Does he, have any influence over the leadership outcome, as things stand? Or is it, still good for the candidates to have some distance from him?
Yes, so Justin Trudeau resigned in early January, and he's not saying anything about the race itself. So the two main contenders are a former finance minister, Chrystia Freeland, and Mark Carney, former governor of the Bank of Canada. It seems that quite a few people who were close to Justin Trudeau have now, I would say, started to support Mark Carney. In terms of proximity to the Prime Minister, I think Chrystia Freeland, because she was cabinet minister in the Trudeau government for 9 years, and because she was really not just the finance minister, but the second in command in the government for some years, she's very closely associated to Justin Trudeau, more so than Mark Carney. And I think Mark Carney benefits from that because Justin Trudeau isn't that popular right now. I think his popularity might be increasing now because Canada is facing this emergency because of our relationship with the United States. But still, I think having some distance between you and your relatively unpopular predecessor is a good thing. And I think that Mark Carney has been helped by this and also by the situation with the United States, because he's depicting himself as a crisis buster, someone who was the governor of the Bank of Canada during the 2008 financial crisis, and also someone who was the governor of the Bank of England during Brexit. So he has a lot of policy experience, and he projects this image of being very competent and a policy wonk, and someone who can also be tough towards Donald Trump.
Okay, so calm and steady. There appears to be, a shift as well, Professor, towards policies which have been championed by the Conservative leader, Pierre Poilievre. I mean, I'm wondering, is there a clear shift among the candidates right now, and is that going to be a real factor as well?
I think the party, the Liberal Party of Canada overall, if we look at both Chrystia Freeland, who's really in second place, and Mark Carney, who is, I think, widely expected to win, he's really ahead in the race. They are trying to recenter the party under Justin Trudeau. The Liberal Party of Canada was really a center-left party, and now they are trying to move more towards the center in terms of fiscal policy, budgetary policy. They also both want to increase military spending, and actually in a major way. So yes, I think there will be a change of policy, even if the Liberals find a way to win the next federal elections, which normally will take place this spring or by the latest in October. If they find a way to remain in power after these elections, I think that the party will govern quite differently from the Justin Trudeau government, just because the challenges we face now are very different from the challenges that we faced until Donald Trump returned to the White House.
Professor Pierre Poilievre, perhaps may find some comfort in Doug Ford's win in Ontario, a fellow Conservative, but he surely must be a little bit worried about the national mood as well. I mean, what do you think he's going to be due between now and, I suppose, October, when a general election is due?
Yes, and the election, as I said, could happen much earlier than that. I think things are not going well for the Conservatives. For 18 months, they were really, really ahead in the polls, and many people thought, it's over for the Liberals. The Conservatives will win the next federal elections. But of course, in politics, things can change really rapidly, especially when you have someone so mercurial, so unpredictable as Donald Trump, who returns to power south of our border. And this has changed the dynamic, as I explained earlier. And I think Pierre Poilievre, it took him a while to adjust to that, because quite a few people within the base of his Conservative Party, they actually liked Donald Trump, or at least they liked him until quite recently, before he started attacking Canada, and at least rhetorically and also with tariffs. And I think it took him a while to pivot. And during that period of time, the Liberals started to gain momentum in the poll and shrink the gap between them and the Conservatives. So really here, it's Mark Carney, I think, plays a role, because in the polls, we see very clearly that if Mark Carney will be the leader, the Liberals will do much better than with someone like Chrystia Freeland or with Justin Trudeau if he was going to stay. But he's not, of course. He already announced his resignation. So there is a Mark Carney effect. But I think the most important factor that explains why the Liberals are moving back up in the polls and are catching up, and even maybe going ahead of the Conservatives right now, moving ahead of the Conservatives, is the Trump effect.
All right. Professor Béland, we'll have to leave it there. We'll find out for sure on Sunday. Daniel Béland is Director and Professor at the Department of Political Science, McGill Institute for the Study of Canada. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.